Okay, everyone, back very quickly. I just wanted to sort of do a follow-up video very quickly because I realized I had kind of goofed up on something in the video that I just posted. So this will be video 62 and a half. It'll be an addendum to video 62. So the goof up that I made was when I was talking about the number 369963. And when you add any number, and again, I guess I shouldn't say any number because there is a breaking point. And I had the breaking point right in front of me and didn't even realize what I had done. It's so ridiculous. And it's funny how this little goof up actually revealed something else interesting. We'll get to it in just a second. So let me just basically say the breaking point is 9999. Okay. So if we add that number, which is a 4-digit number, to 369963, we will get, let's just pull it up here. And you can see some math I've done right here to explain everything else that I'm getting ready to say. But 369963, so 999, that's the number 9999, that's the number we're going to add to it. And we get 379962, okay? So obviously, if we take the last four, 9962, and add 37, we're going to get 9999, the number that we just plugged in, okay? So let's just do the math on that so you guys can see. I'm a visual person, so a lot of you can do the math in your head. I just like to show the math, okay? Just so people can see that what I'm talking about here. All right, so 9962 plus 37, again, is 9999. That's the 4-digit number we just plugged into it, okay? However, when I talked about adding the number 10,000, I wasn't thinking clearly because 10,000 is a 5-digit number. What I did in the video was I took 369963, added 10,000, got 379963, but what I did was I took the last 4 digits, not the last 5. That's what I technically should have done. Because that's what I was trying to explain to you. When you start with the number 1 and add it, and it comes back to 1, that's because we're looking at 1-digit sequences. If it was a 2-digit number, we would take the last 2, the next 2, and so on. If it was a 3-digit number, we would take the last 3, and so on. And then, of course, a 4-digit number, we're going to take the last 4 and add whatever's remaining. That's what causes it all to come back to the number that you originally plugged in. However, that's the goof that I made. We're looking at the number 10,000. 10,000 is a 5-digit number. Technically, what I should have done was taken the last 5 digits, 79963, add the remaining number, which is 3, and we get 79966, which clearly is not the number that we plugged into 369963. So the breaking point is this number right here, 9999. With that being said, it is interesting that when we get up into the 10,000s, that 4, taking the last 4 digits, that sequence continues to work up into a certain point, okay? And then it breaks again. The breaking point is what's interesting, okay? So I literally was plugging all this in here since I posted the video. So I have taken 369,963 and every number from 10,000 up to 10,036. Okay? And as you can see, there's some math over here. Let's just go ahead and clear this out so it doesn't confuse anyone. And this will be interesting. I'll keep this here because this is important over here. But this is the breaking point, okay? 10,036. Because again, we're looking at the 4 digits, the last 4, and technically I know what I'm saying here. We plugged in a 5-digit number and we should be looking at the last 5 digits and adding the remaining. What I'm saying is that it's interesting that the 4-digit sequence continues to work up into the 10,000s until we reach this breaking point. Okay? So let's just look here. 9999 plus 37 will give us 10,036, the number that we're looking at right here. But the next number, it doesn't work out that way. Okay, so that's where we know that this right here is the final. This is the end. Because 369,963 plus 10,037 gives us 380,000. There's no way we can take the last 4 and add, which is nothing but zeros, and wind up with 38 and look at that and say, oh, well, that's the number we just plugged in, because clearly it's not. We plugged in a 5-digit number, not a 2-digit number. Okay? I hope this is making sense to you guys. And again, I realize we're looking at 5-digit numbers, but again, it's just interesting that this 4-digit sequence continues to a certain point. And here's why. Here's why it's interesting. This number, 10,036, when we add its mirror opposite of 63,001, we wind up with this number, 73037. I have actually talked about this number before because, let's jump back to this program here. In matrix gematria, the value of Genesis 1:1 is 11,026. Again, in matrix gematria. Okay, 11,026. When we add the mirror opposite of that, 62,011, we get the same number, 73037. And I've talked about this in my book. This is a more accurate representation of the name Jesus Christ than 3773. Okay? Because, again, Jesus in Hebrew ordinal gematria has the value of 37, and Christ has the value of 73. And because Hebrew is read from right to left, we're going to look at this number first and then this number over here. Jesus, space, the 0 is technically acting as a space, and then 73, Christ. So, again, what are the chances that this 4-digit sequence continuing up into the 10,000s would stop at this number, 10,036, which when added to its mirror opposite gives us 73037. Okay, that's interesting. And again, it's like that mistake that I made when I was doing all of the 1111 matrix code numbers by hand, and I fat-fingered a number, which led me to looking at those numbers as binary code, and how that led me to this whole entire sequence of events that led me to the Security Exchange Commission, et cetera, and then how all those connections were made. It's exactly what happened today. I goofed, and yet it led to something more. it's it's crazy how that happens. But that isn't the only thing here. So adding that number, 10,036 to 369,963 gives us 379,999. Okay. Now, again, technically we would take the last 4 digits and add the remaining. And obviously that's what I did right here. And it gives us the number we just plugged in. But what if we didn't add those numbers? We multiplied them. Okay. So let's go into the formula and change that from addition to multiplication. And again, it's interesting, but 37 times 9999 is 369,963. It came back to the number that acts as the engine which made all of those other processes work, from 1 basically all the way up to 9,999. Yeah. Very, very interesting. It's again, it just kind of, it's like this stuff was meant to happen, like just making that goof and then realizing the goof that I made, going back and checking the math and realizing this new sequence of events and how it all plays out. And again, these numbers, these mirror reflection numbers leading back to Jesus Christ. And that's one other thing I wanted to point out, and I neglected to do it in the video when I was talking about the last verse of Genesis 1:1, having that connection to Jesus Christ, because I said, well, here, let's just pull it up. So go in here. The last verse talks about Joseph dying at the age of 110 years old. And I said, there's the connection back to Jesus Christ. Now, most of you should have realized what I was talking about, hopefully. And some of you may have missed it. 110, I said, that's the value of 37 plus 73. It's 110. What I neglected to say is that 37, again, is the value of Jesus, and 73 is the value of Christ in Hebrew ordinal gematria. Okay? And so we see that at the beginning. And again, this all ties back into that whole entire phrase. That's the wrong one. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. Those numbers, 37, 73. Again, it just boggles the mind. But anyway, I wanted to clear that up. I realized, again, like I said, it wasn't until I was watching the video, watching it in the way that you guys would be watching it, that I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? You're you fucked up. But yeah, maybe some of you may have caught it and some of you may not, but I certainly did. And I just wanted to clarify that I realized I did goof, and what that goof actually revealed past that. So there you have it. Okay. Going to wind this down. Actually, I'm just going to end this. But again, like I said, I just wanted to clear that up and realize, or let you guys know that I realized I had goofed up there. So, okay, that's it for now. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.